Hello and welcome to this edition of Diaspora Central Spotlight. I am Gil Ingles, and with us today in the studio, ladies and gentlemen, is Miss Kathleen Lynch-Gunter. She comes from an education background, and she's making sure that her constituents, if anything at all, are definitely educated about politics, because after all, there's nothing better than an educated constituency. Miss Kathleen Lynch-Gunter, welcome to Diaspora Central Spotlight.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Gil. Thank you for having me this morning. I'm excited to be here.
Indeed.
And be on the show.
Indeed. Yeah, morning here could be night somewhere else.
Amen.
Indeed. But nothing better than a good morning.
Amen.
Yes. Now, service.
Oh, my goodness. I love to teach. I love to bring knowledge. You know, our people perish for lack of knowledge. That's one of the things that I believe. So if you have the knowledge, you can get some power.
Right. You may have to say that again. People
perish for a lack of knowledge.
People perish for a lack of knowledge. Quote of the day. Indeed. Yeah. How do you get into that mode? Because just like anything else, we happen to become, but it doesn't start with us. It starts somewhere. Right.
One of the things I like to say, I am a workhorse, not a show horse. When I was coming up, we had to work. We had to put the work in. Even as a child, we had to do things like pick peas, shell peas, pick okra. So country reared. I was raised in the city, but it had to go to the country during the summertime.
Okay.
So that taught me how to work, and it taught me the rewards of working. I like what you get after you work. You get a reward,
right?
And you know, and that's good. That's good, and it just teaches you the value of a dollar. It teaches you the value of working, and so that is instilled in me.
Indeed.
So you know, I'm not a person that's just like to show out.
Yeah.
I bring information to my community. I've been doing it since 2016.
Okay.
I started a civic club. And that's I just continue to do that. It doesn't pay me anything, but it does bring information to the community, information they can use, and information that can help us with education, safety, and just beautification to try to make a better area, a better community, a better neighborhood.
Right. Now, if we may start with the accolade, because that's the one thing that I actually did notice about you, is your willingness to educate, your willingness to let people understand exactly what is it that they are supposed to get, what is it that they are electing. And of course that also puts you then on the ballot, but yet your first task in actually getting your constituents was to make sure that they were educated, that they understood what is it that if they elect you, you are supposed to do for them. Many candidates don't do that. So let's kind of go ahead and start there, because the conversations here normally we go from inspirations to aspirations. Can we do that?
Yes, we can.
All right.
So starting out, I got into politics. It wasn't a wish of my own. Had no intention of getting in politics. I was a civic club president.
Yeah.
I wanted to do civic duty in my community, and I wanted to see some things that were happening change.
Right.
All the legal dumping and things like that. So I put together a civic club, and I got some help, didn't do it by myself, with the community. I like to take a team approach, and we got together and we got some deed restrictions passed. And that was the kickoff to a lot of buzz. You know, how did you do this? How did you do that? And so I'm the type of person like to share information because it's education.
Right.
And so that's what I did. I shared my information, educated some of the communities nearby.
Right.
And Glenwood Forest is one of the communities that wanted to do deed restrictions, and we got them involved, and a few other people too. We had some struggles, but my point I'm making is teaching them how to get started. Where to go from there,
right.
Step by step.
Yeah.
And they were able to do it. We did it. We finished it. It took a couple of years, but that brought a lot of attention to me. And someone knocked on my door and said, "Hey, Miss Gunter, we want you to run for a position." And I'm like, "No, I don't know nothing about politics."
Yeah.
So that's how I got started in the politics.
Indeed.
One of the super neighborhood presidents knocked on my door,
Right.
Mr. Coleman, and he asked me what I consider running for Houston Community College. That was the very, I believe it was in 2018.
Yeah.
So of course, I hesitated,
Right.
didn't know what I was doing, and they kind of grabbed me by the hand and said, "We're gonna show you."
Indeed. Now, you being an educator was always that part of your dream?
No, actually, I wanted to be wanted to go in business, and my major, my first degree, I have a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, and I got that up in Waco, Texas, Paul Quinn College. Went there and got my 4-year degree, and I really wanted to do accounting and things like that, things that related to business. I kind of got back to reality when I got back to Houston and found out very quickly getting a job in business and administration was not available.
Okay.
It was not an option for me. So what did I do? I came back to Houston and I became a sales clerk. I was a cashier. And then that wasn't enough money. It definitely wasn't enough money. So the next thing I started doing was substitute teaching.
Okay.
So that's how I got into the teaching career.
There you go.
And that was a wake-up call for me, because knowing, watching some of the students and trying to help them learn day to day was not that bad. But when I had to take a long-term assignment, that's when the problem came in. A long-term assignment was it was hard to do it, to fill in for somebody that's going to be gone for 4 or 5 months.
Indeed.
So you had to do all the paperwork, all the grades, get to know all the kids. Basically, I was like their teacher of record for a few months. So
there you go. Yeah. Now, let's kind of talk a little bit about family. You were born and raised in Houston, Texas?
Yes, born and raised right here in Houston. My mother...
Which borough?
I'm sorry?
Which neighborhood?
Trinity Garden, Houston.
Trinity
it was called Trinity Garden. It's called Houston Trinity Garden, but it was born and raised in Trinity Garden, and grew up in that area pretty much. That was all of my life. I stayed kind of like in that one little box.
There you go.
I walked to school. I walked to elementary school, and then we moved up to high school.
You can mention school also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, give them a shout out, because educators are the ones who get the least amount of shout outs. So don't hesitate to shout out the educators, the schools, because in all honesty, they are the rock of the pillar of our community. Right. Because they pretty much help create the leaders and very seldom get that credit. Yeah.
Absolutely. I remember our principal, his name was Mr. Tates. I'm sure he's no longer with us, but you kind of remember those people that had put fear in your heart. Yeah. We walked a straight line. We went, when we were school, we had to walk a straight line to the restroom and a straight line back.
Right.
And then at Chatham Elementary School, from there to Terra Middle School. And believe it or not, I walked from my house to Terra Middle School. That was about a 2-mile walk.
Wow.
But that was okay. We all walked. We walked together with other classmates, and we got to school and we went to class. That's what we did. And then when I got to high school, it was a little bit different.
Okay.
But I didn't walk to high school. It was a little far, too far.
Right.
But
which high school did you go to?
Cashmere Senior High School. They just had a homecoming here recently. Go Rams! Y'all did that. I want to say that to them.
Congratulations.
Thank you. They won. So it was happy. It was a happy moment.
Indeed. Yeah. Now about family, mother, father.
Raised in the house with both parents, mother and father. They all my life. Didn't know. I like to tell the truth. Didn't know that my mother and father were not my real parents until actually I was in middle school getting ready to run track, and I had to bring my birth certificate.
Okay.
So when I brought my birth certificate, that's when I realized who I was. My name was different on the birth certificate than it was on my school records.
Okay.
And my teacher, Miss Williams, she was a coach.
Okay.
Coach Williams. She said, "Young lady, nobody's going to know who you are, and they're not going to have a record of you if you don't fix your birth certificate." I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "Who told you your name was Kathleen Miller?" And I said, that's my mom and daddy's. My mom and dad told me my name was Kathleen Miller.
Right.
And I never opened the paper and looked at the birth
Right.
certificate.
Yeah.
And when I did, I found out my name was Kathleen Lynch.
Right.
So that was a shock.
Okay.
I'm not gonna
and
pretend it was.
Right.
It was,
and you're in middle school.
I'm in
So
middle school.
you're just a
running
child.
track. Yes,
You're a child.
Yes.
Yeah.
Getting ready to run.
So
You know, I ran.
That's
I think I made third place, and that was the only reason
Right.
they wanted to take me to state.
right.
And they
so
had
that,
to have documents.
So that's what, 11, 12, 13 years old?
Yeah, something like that.
Wow.
Between 11 and 13. Yeah, about 12. About 12 to 13, something
Okay.
like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now let's kind of unpack that right there for a little bit. You have to go home now and have that conversation with your parents.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm.
They were not willing to share much information with
Yeah.
me.
Back in those days, it was kind of like that. Some
Yeah.
things you don't talk about.
Right. They weren't
Right.
willing. And I got very angry as a child, you know, teenager. And then, you know, I would end up going to Louisiana that summer, and I started asking my auntie, because her name was on the birth certificate, and I went to her and I asked her, I said, "Are you my mom? Are you my real mother?" And she looked at me and she said, "Who told you that?" She said, "Don't ask me that again. Go back and ask your mother. Go ask your mother."
Okay.
And you know, as a child, you're obedient.
Right.
You do what you're told to do. I kind of just left it alone for a little bit, and then it came back up again. It came back up again, I think, when I went to the next grade level.
Yeah.
And if you go in my yearbook right now, in the 11th grade, I was Kathleen Miller. In the 12th grade, I was Kathleen Lynch. So you can't find. You have to really look in that yearbook to find me.
So you actually end up changing your name back, but as far as the family, that conversation really never fully evolved. It just you kind of understood what it was
Correct.
on your own, but you were never really like
told. I was given some stories from my aunt that raised me, and the stories that she gave me when she go back and from birth and talk, you know, when I was born, where I was born in the hospital, and how I was moved from, how my mother moved and moved, you know, wanted to her to rear me up or take care of me was a little bit different from what my mother said.
Okay.
So, you know, you have your aunt telling you this, it went this way, then you have your real mother, your natural mother, telling me, baby, this is how it really was.
Okay.
This is what happened. This is what I was going through. This is why, because I wanted to know. I started saying, well, why did you not raise me? Why did you give me up to my aunt, and you kept the rest of your kids?
Right.
And that was, you know, that was very hurtful. I'm not going to sit up and pretend it wasn't, because it was me, my brother, and another sister that were raised by other family members.
Okay.
So it wasn't just me. At the time, I was thinking it's just me. You know, it wasn't.
Oh, so you had other siblings that you at the time don't even know that
I didn't know they were
they
my
also your siblings.
I thought they were my cousins.
You thinking that they're your cousins, but they're your actual siblings.
Yes.
Got you.
Yes.
Okay, so then between what you heard from your biological mother and what you heard from your mother that raised you, right? You know what the truth is.
I know what the truth is.
In the middle, you can't understand the truth.
Correct.
But now, have you been able to actually come to peace with it?
Pretty much. I have no choice but to come to peace with it.
Right.
It took me a long time to come to peace with it.
Yeah, because that takes a lot of forgiving.
That's it. And you have to forgive. You have to forgive people, because I don't know what my mother was going through at that time. I learned that there was some abuse along the way. There was some abuse from my father that caused her to, you know, there was some disbelief in the father. They didn't have DNA back then. So if he said it ain't his, and, you know, you go through all of that, you know, who you going to believe?
Yeah.
You know, so once they kind of explained it to me, it made sense, but it still had a lot of bitterness, you know, and I had to get over that. I had to overcome. I was reared in the church from a baby, you know, just was in the church. And also, you know, for as far back as I can remember, I was doing Easter speeches, you know, when I was a little girl. Yeah. So, and baptized as a very young age, and, you know, just church after church, and, you know, until I was, you know, well into my 20s, I was always, I had structure.
Yeah, you're
When it
grounded.
come to that, I was grounded in it, believed in it, and used to watch the wigs fall off and the people shout.
There
So
you
it
go.
was seen all of that.
Yeah, indeed.
Mhm.
Yeah, but one, and I think the most important thing is that you definitely had the love necessary to become a happy
Yeah,
individual.
well rounded. My
Right.
my daddy was he was a good father to me. Wasn't my natural father, but that was the only daddy I really
That's the only
know.
father you know.
And he
Yeah.
was good to me. So
Yeah.
those are good memories.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, because
yes.
because it is what we always say. It's like your parents are going to be those who actually impact you in that way.
Yes.
And sometimes they don't necessarily need to be your biological parents.
Correct.
Yeah. And with that in mind, let's go ahead and take our quick break, and we'll be right back.
Hey, Houston, are you looking to start your own podcast but not sure how? Houston Podcast Studio is your local choice for podcast recording and production. Call us today to schedule a tour and find out how to get started.
And we are back. If you just joined us, you're now tuned into Diaspora Central Spotlight, and our guest today is Miss Kathleen Gunter. If you talk about life experiences shaping you to become the leader of the future, ladies and gentlemen, that pressure does make diamonds. Today, you have one right before you, Miss Kathleen Gunter.
Yes, sir.
Not by accident, by design.
Amen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And with divinity always present.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It takes God sometimes to
It
lead us
does.
to where we go and how we go.
And I definitely believe in God.
Indeed.
So
Yeah.
yes.
So the same, without even knowing, that need for something, that longing for something that you're completely unaware of what it is. You're being raised by a loving family that loves you wholeheartedly. They do everything for you. And yet you're surprised by the fact that they're not your real parents. Okay, you don't get the responses from them that you expected, but you do still move forward and find ways of soothing that need for understanding why. Was part of that what put you in the mission where you are now?
Absolutely. The mission was already, I like to say, I was already called to even be where I am today, even running for this position for a community college or a city college, because it bridged the gap between the community and education. And the who's more, the kids are important, the students are important to me, and learning
Right.
from, not necessarily, my parents didn't necessarily have the education. I think my father stopped at the 6th grade level. I think my mother went to like the 11th.
Okay.
Neither one of them had a diploma. I was the first person in my family to get a degree. In my immediate sisters, all of the family, nobody had a degree.
So you the flagship at that point in time.
Right. At that point in time, that was in the early 80s. But and coming back to the community after I got the degree and looking at the need for these kids. Remember I told you I was a substitute teacher.
Right.
And once I seen the need, if you have a child in my classroom when I was a long term
Right.
that did not understand how to add double digits. She could not add 10 plus 10
Right.
or 11 plus 12. She didn't. And I did not, I wasn't so quick to criticize because these are kids. They, you can't go in there and say, well, why y'all don't know this? That's not the attitude to take. You have to get down and find out each individual person
Right.
have each individual need.
Yeah.
What reason these particular kids in this particular class, why all these kids, and they were black kids, could not add a double digit. Well, we have a curriculum
Right.
that you go by and you move on.
Right.
That's why. You don't stop because they can't get it. I was a substitute teacher, so I went by a different set of rules.
Okay.
I said, we're going to stop if we're going to stay on math all day.
Okay.
So what y'all need, some apples. We're going to get some apples. We're going to get some candy. We're going to put 3 over here. We're going to put 20 over here and 16 over here. And we're going to figure out how to carry.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to, if it's 16 plus 16,
Right.
you know, you need to know how to carry the 2. I mean, write down the 2 and carry the 1.
Indeed. So in other words, you now are full solutionist. We're finding solutions to these problems that we have in this classroom. Okay. My experience has taught me something, and I want to teach you guys also how to overcome some of those things.
Right.
It is possible because you see impossibility being the first one in your family to transcend the limitations of education. To them, they just needed to look at someone that they knew and could understand that, you know what, if Miss Kathleen Gunter did it, we too can do it.
They can do it.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that you said that, because when I seen a little girl cry in my classroom, she said, nobody ever taught me to carry. She said, nobody ever taught me. And she just bust out crying. She was in the 5th grade.
Wow.
She was in the 5th grade, and she could not do double-digit adding because she said nobody took the time. Oh, I would bring stuff. And, you know, bringing the community together, bringing those kids. I had, every Friday, we had a spelling test.
Oh, there you go.
We had a spelling test. And the spelling test, they got a reward if they got 100. They got, okay, well, I gave them candy, you know, whatever treat they like. We had, you know, blow pops, 9-laters, whatever it was, and they look forward to Fridays.
Right.
So that's the kind of joy and the kind of learning and teaching that I want to bridge with my community, bridge with HCC, cross over barriers that are there that can easily be removed. With the community working together, with the business partners working together, with people coming together, you can do amazing things with these kids that they think that cannot learn. These kids that have obstacles in their way. They may be going through, you know, like, you know, somebody may be just hungry. When I was growing up, if we didn't have food, we made a ketchup sandwich.
Right.
And people like, what is that? Or a mayonnaise sandwich. Or, you know, sometimes it was bread, sugar, and butter.
There you go.
Whatever the case may be. You know, people laugh at this now, but that's what got me through when my parents didn't, you know, have or hadn't went to the grocery store, whatever the case may be. Heck, it wasn't until I went to college that I realized how poor we were. I thought we were doing well.
Right.
In my mind.
Right.
So, you know, so the reason, and with all of that, all of those experiences helped me to be more sensitive.
Yeah.
And more concerned.
Right.
And I can't get rid of that sensitivity. It's hard for me to just, if somebody needs something and they're on the street or wherever, it's hard for me to walk away.
Right.
Sometimes I would say I must have something stamped on my head up here that says giver, because I can't figure out why I have to, why I'm always the one in position that I got to make a decision.
Right.
Do I give this or do I walk it away?
Yeah.
You know, do I take care of my own?
Indeed.
Yeah, I'm supposed to take care of my own.
Well,
the scripture says you're worse than an infidel, you know. So I went to a church out of my community. This is what I learned.
Yes, ma'am.
Way in Huambo.
Right.
So, and I was just glad to be away. I'm moving out of here. I was in my head. I was thinking. I was like, I can get away from this and just enjoy myself.
Right.
My son had autism. I'm gonna stick him in his classroom, and I'm gonna go get the word, and I'm just gonna be happy forever after.
Right.
And when I got in the classroom, this was a high level of Christianity, a high level of biblical learning for me. And they said, your ministry is to take what you know and bring it back to your community.
Right.
And you teach your community. You don't just hold on to it.
Right. So now you got to go back.
I was like, oh. This is why I'm learning this, so I got to go back.
Right.
And that's what I did.
Indeed.
I did it with joy because I realized, I said, you know what? I'm going to take this by the hand.
Right.
If I by myself, I'm just by myself.
There you go. And a lot of times we don't understand our calling until after, right? Because while we're going through it, we do ask ourselves why. And that's just part of the process. People that kind of impacted your life heavily, Go ahead.
Impacts can be positive, and they can be both negative.
Right.
If it's too much of a negative impact, it makes me work to the opposite of whatever the impact was. Give you an example.
Right.
My mother, we could not sit on some of her furniture. It was not allowed.
Okay.
If it was in a certain part of the house, we couldn't sit on it.
Okay.
I said when I got older, I was going to make sure I had furniture that everybody could sit on. Because I did not understand why purchase something that you cannot use. It just didn't make sense to me.
Right.
Of course, now I'm a little older. I can understand the value of having, coins in mint condition.
Fine thing.
Yeah, I understand the difference. But, coming up young, I didn't understand that. I was mad because I couldn't get to sit on the plush velvet red furniture. Couch, yes.
Yeah. But
I said all that to say that the impact of, that's just something small.
Sure.
But it's other things that impacted my life.
Yeah.
They say, you know what, when I get older, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to stand up. Got married. I got married real, I won't say real early. I was in my early 20s.
Okay.
And didn't understand what abusive relationship meant. Didn't understand the signs. Didn't understand the warnings.
See,
just didn't get it.
when you don't come from it, you don't know.
Right. I didn't know that a little bit of abuse can lead to bigger problems, and it did. It did. Went on to say that because I don't know if you know, but during this journey, I was shot in my head.
Oh, gracious! I didn't know. Okay.
Yes, point blank range by my ex-husband.
Whoa, let's unpack that real quickly. Because see, and in the first, let's go in the political climate in which the country finds itself right now. It's important to have those kind of conversations, and then in the community climate in which we find ourselves right now, also, it's really, really very important to have these conversations, because we have to help. There's someone probably sitting there in the same space where you were, and they just don't know. Right? So let's unpack that a little bit. As you reach the point in which things are not what you expected them to be, what keeps you there?
In a relationship, apologies. Apologies make you think that it will never happen again. Until an old lady came to me and whispered in my ear. She said, "Baby, if you're doing it now, before you get married, it's going to get worse if you get married." But I didn't listen.
Okay.
But apologies I thought they were, I was so naive to believe if you apologize, that means that you were sorry and you're sincere and you're going to never do it again. And that's what I thought. Because that's why, if I did something wrong and I got in trouble, I try not to never do it again. That's not saying that I didn't never do it again, but I wasn't finna do it right away,
Yeah, good-hearted people think that everybody else is good-hearted.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I'm thinking he got a good heart, he's going to change, and this didn't happen.
Right.
Just didn't happen.
Yeah. So you end up getting shot. Does that come from an argument, or he just?
It came from, and I'm being transparent here because it is what it is. It came from abusive relationship and infidelity and adultery on his part, and I just decided to leave.
Okay.
I got tired. I decided to leave. I moved out of our little apartment and moved back home with my mother.
Okay.
My mother and father. I moved back in the house with them, and he was trying to reach me. I wouldn't answer the phone and all of this stuff. We didn't have cell phones then. I don't think I had a cell phone until later on. But I ran into him at a park, Dewson Park, as a matter of fact. I ran into him in Dewson Park, and when I ran into him, we exchanged a few words, and he pulled out a gun. Well, he had a gun hidden first. He had it hidden in a Crown Royal bag. I think it's a Crown Royal, or is it Royal Crown?
Crown Royal.
It's the purple
Crown Royal,
Yes,
the liquor.
the liquor.
Yes.
He had the liquor bag, and he had the gun in the liquor bag. And I looked at the liquor bag, and he was, yelling and screaming all sorts of things. I was driving at the time, so he came around to the driver's side, and the park was really crowded. You couldn't, you had a lot of cars in front, a lot of cars behind, and you could not. I could not go around. It was crowded on both ways.
Right.
And so he went over to the driver's side, and he said, pull this car over. Where do you think you're going? And he said a lot of other stuff in between there.
Right.
You, my wife, and blah, blah, blah. And he put the gun to my head, and I tried to pull over, and he said, oh, you're driving off. You're driving off. Okay. And then he pulled the trigger, and it clicked, and I was under the impression that he was bluffing.
Wow.
The first click I heard, when I got ready to grab his hand for the second click, that's when I got shot right here in the temple.
Oh, gracious.
The bullet went in here, and the bullet came out up here in the top of my head. And it took me a few minutes. You don't know you're shot.
Right.
I mean, have you ever been, I know a lot of people, nobody has ever experienced this, I've been shot. But my experience, I didn't know what happened to me. I knew something had happened to me.
Right.
I couldn't hear anything anymore. My sound went away, and I heard a beeping, like real loud, loud noise, just coming from my inside of my head. I couldn't figure out what was going on.
Right.
I seen smoke coming from my hair. I'm like, what in the world was that? I'm still trying to figure it out. It took me about 15 to 20 seconds to figure out when I felt the blood that, I've been shot. He shot me. And instantly, I began to pray. First thing I did.
So you're still conscious?
I'm still conscious.
Wow.
But first thing I did was fall over this way to the right, and the stick shift was here. I wasn't by myself. My girlfriend was here. My sister was in the back seat.
Oh, great.
They witnessed all of this.
Right.
And I remember her saying, screaming, "Stop the car! The car is still rolling." I remember feeling for the brakes to stop the vehicle from rolling, and I did that. And she put it in park, and I remember my face was up to the sky. And all I could see is the blue. It was a beautiful day, very hot day. And I began to pray and ask God to have mercy, because I didn't think I was going to live now.
Right.
I asked him to have mercy on me and take care of my baby. She was 2.
So you had so there are children involved at that point.
Yes, I had one daughter. She was 2 years old. So, I asked him to do that, and just really prepared myself mentally to pass on.
Right.
A few minutes later, of course, here I am today sitting here. It's a lot of stuff happened in between that. But, fast forward, when I got to the hospital, they couldn't do anything for me anyway. They told me that they don't treat gunshot wounds to the head. And see, that's the kind of knowledge that, you just don't know. Even with teaching.
Oh, wow.
If you want to go into the medical field, there are some things you got to be ready for. If you want to be a doctor, you need to know early on that you can't stand blood.
Right.
Whatever kind of profession you're in, EMT, they have HCC have a campus. All they teach is EMS, medical services, firefighter services, and it's hidden over there. It's called the Caldwell campus. Many people don't know it's there, but it's a part of it's a little bit of part of District 2.
Okay.
And that's those are fields that people could work in and make a lot of money. And that 2-year-old I was talking about ended up becoming a pharmacist.
Wow.
She became a pharmacist because somebody came to the school and had a fair, had a career fair, and told her, "This is where you can make $120,000 a year," and that's what she chose to do.
Yeah.
That's my oldest daughter.
Right.
And so that's, she wanted to make a lot of money. She wanted, she you know what she told me when she was in the 10th grade? I said, you need to start figuring out what you want to be. And now, because she said, I said, maybe you want to go into the teaching field. She said, why would I want to be a teacher like you and make $40,000 a year and have to pay back all those student loans? A 10th grader.
Right.
I was Too outdone when she told me that.
Yeah, but you got to remember that also. The influence, I'll take it. I mean, if I'm taking that she was born in the 80s.
86.
Yeah, right. So born in the 80s. I mean, it's like the influence of what she's seeing now. It's money makers, high rollers on television, MTV, right? Because I mean, MTV now is becoming at that point is becoming the standard of life, right?
Yes.
MTV Cribs and all of those things. So people are looking at all these big grandiose homes and things like that. But there's something actually even bigger that happens in there, because through your trauma, you still find a place to be able to advocate. You go through all that trauma, and right out of there, you pick up experience that actually brings you to advocacy, back to advocacy. You go into a hospital in which people either don't know or are not prepared to treat someone who has had that kind of an injury.
Correct.
So that in itself drives you to where, you know what, if we prepare our students or we prepare our community, then we can have those individuals who can take care of any position or any situation.
Right, and they can start that career path really at elementary school.
Okay.
That's not something that they have to do when they figure out when they get to high school. They're going to change their career. Most people, most kids change what they want to do by 4 times before they really figure it out.
Right.
And if you start preparing those babies on an elementary level, and then by the time they get to middle school, they might change their mind.
Right.
But by the time they get to high school, and mind is a little bit more mature,
Right.
take some field trips and see what it looks like,
Right.
then they will know by the time they get ready to transition from the 10th grade, 12th grade, then they got dual credit programs.
Right.
They have dual credit programs. While they're taking these courses, they can get a college associate's degree.
Okay.
And so they will know what they want to do by the time, and that career path will follow them to a 4-year university if they so choose to want to do that.
So there you have. So resources, in other words, resources are available. People just need to know what those resources are.
That's correct.
All right. And with that, let's take another quick break, and we'll be right back, because after we get back, we want to touch on the resources available for the communities in Houston, Texas. We'll be right back. Welcome. This is Diaspora Central. This is really the location where the magic happens. As you all know, this is the show for you or anyone who's a member of the diaspora. What do? We showcase diaspora culture and talent. I'm Gil Ingles. Welcome and stay tuned at least once a week. All right, so stay with us and let's go. And we are back. If you just joined us, you're now tuned into Diaspora Central Spotlight with Gil Ingles. And our guest today is Miss Kathleen Gunter. We're talking about overcoming some serious conditions in life, surviving serious trauma, and today showcasing what the future of a community can actually be in a positive way. Miss Kathleen Gunter, so the need of having, first, an educated community. Education is really the base of a community, period. You mentioned that you're the first in your family to graduate from a college. And today, you are also an educator and an advocate for education. So let's first start by talking about the position that you're running for and why you're running for it.
Okay, I'm running for Houston City College for trustee for District 2 because District 2 is where I live, of course, and you have to reside in the area that you live in order to represent the people in that district.
Okay.
So I'm running for that position because, of course, it's a need in my community for education. Earlier I said people perish for a lack of knowledge, and that is so true. Programs that we had in high school that when I was coming up, we had homemaking, which is something like culinary art, they call it today. We had woodwork, AC repair, cosmetology. We had all these trades.
Right.
So when we would graduate, sometimes people went right into a job, whether it was Armco Steel or they worked at the post office. It's a bunch of jobs that prepared the high school trades prepared ready workforce ready for those kids to be able to go directly into the workforce and make money. That's what it's all about. They need to be able to go from the house to the job, and of course you want to get the knowledge in the college courses in between. But if you can get it dual credit, like I was saying, you can have your associate's degree when you're in the 12th grade. You can come out with it and go straight into the job. Apprenticeship programs. They have programs where if you want to become a mechanic, you can be working on your mechanic certification, but still getting paid. Some people were doing that through Metro.
Right.
Metro had a wonderful program. Don't know if it still exists today, but these are the type of programs that HCC can bring to the community. If I talk too much, they will steal all my ideas. But
no, which is okay. And just for the clarity of some constituents, because you say HCC. When you say HCC, you're talking about Houston Community College.
Houston City College. They
Houston
changed the
City
name.
College. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Because and I kind of want to summarize this because that's important. Those are resources available to anyone. All you need to do is be a resident of the city, right? A legal resident of the city.
A legal resident of the city.
And you should have the ability to take advantage of some of these programs. One of them is the VOTEC program, the dual credit program, in which you are still in high school and you also doing either apprenticeship programs or college courses.
Yes.
Okay. Now, is there cost involved with that?
There is some cost involved for the students. Based on their financial aid, they have to put their information in, and once they give all the information, it's going to kick back, see how much grants they qualify for as opposed to out of pocket from their parents. The way that the financial aid is set up now is a little bit different from what I come up with. You used to kind of go on your own and do it, but now they want to take the parent income. And then also, unless you're independent, and you go independent. And then if you're 55, between 55, I believe it's 65, you can get half off. And then if you're 65 and older, you can get courses for free, for no charge to you. And I think you have to have a minimum of, I want to say a minimum of 6 or 7 students in that class for that class to make
to
for
take
it to,
place.
for to get that credit for free, to get it for free.
Okay, so then there are really and I bring this up because those are things that I believe that our community does not know, and I am a true proponent that believes that the association sometimes of educational institutions and other community organizations is very important. Whether they be media organizations, whether they be public libraries, whatever, it's really important to have those community programs that do happen. And of course, you come from, your grassroots was really that. You were putting together community programs in order to educate your community even prior to you running for position, and that's what actually makes people suggest you for the position, right?
Absolutely, because when I learn information from a super neighborhood president or from another civic club president, I bring that information back to my civic club and I share that information abroad. Now HCC may need to develop more ways of getting that communication out, because I've worked at the Northline campus doing early voting a few years back, and then I also visited the North Forest campus, which is the Northline campus is not in my district. The North Forest campus is in my district, and the disparities are unbelievable. They have people sitting there, they're already set up, they're ready to enroll. students right on the spot. They got a counselor set up. They got a food court over here. And so I said, wow, this is awesome. And then I go over to the North Forest campus, and the two campuses that are in my area,
Right.
immediate area, they are empty.
Mm.
There's no enrollment staff. There's nobody to help student services. Nobody's available. They have to get on the phone and call another location. You couldn't just walk in and enroll. They used to have a marquee that says enrollment started. It was taken down,
Okay.
so you didn't know. You had to rely on paper and to let the kids know that here's a school here. And
Right.
so I took it upon myself. Me and a lady named Jeanette Smith.
Okay.
We went into the schools, and we went into North Forest High School, and we brought on their career day. We brought information to say, hey, these are some programs that's offered right here.
Okay.
And we were able to get 19 students that were getting ready to graduate. Information so that they can go to the HCC, Houston Community College, and take whatever those courses that they were interested in.
Right.
And also, let me say this: if you don't have the programs available for the students in your area, they're going to go outside the area to find whatever the program they need if they can. And if you start a program at HCC. At a campus, you shouldn't have to transfer to another campus across town. So hopefully we can bridge that gap where they can be able to take all those courses. If it's a three-part certification, all 3 parts of the certification at one location.
Right.
And that's going to be awesome for those kids to get everything one-stop shop. And guess what? If they got a food court, they can eat there too.
Right.
So that's the goal. That's the whole goal, to make it a better place, make it a resource center for not just young students, of people of all ages, all walks of life.
Indeed.
Coming through there. They'd be able to get information, even if they was able to get some information on domestic violence, looking at the signs and things that the warning signs
Right.
that come and being taught.
Yeah.
Also stuff like financial literacy. They need to know. Give you a quick example. My daughter worked 4 weeks on a job. My baby girl.
Right.
4 weeks on the job before she didn't even know when she was getting paid.
Sure.
She didn't know how she was getting paid. She didn't know who was supposed to pay her. And I said, now you're my daughter and I'm a teacher, and you've been working for 4 weeks and you haven't seen nothing. She said, they keep telling me they're working on it. I said, no. So of course, being a mama bear, I jumped in and corrected the situation.
Okay.
But those are the things the kids, I used to do my own income tax,
Right.
because we had an easy form. You just
Right.
fill it out. Those are the courses that are not being taught.
Right.
And these are the kind of things this is just common things to help
Right.
kids learn just what is FICA. They don't know what that is.
Right.
What is that coming out of my check?
Right.
Where are those taxes coming from?
Right.
So these are the kind of things that I think that young kids should know
Indeed.
before they even go to work.
Indeed, and I mean, and I think that aside from actually just the educational institutions, also partnerships with community organizations becomes very important. And I'll take this opportunity really to suggest, and I don't even know if that's in your district or not, but there is a SETI Institute library in Houston, Texas. That's probably even one institution in which maybe once a year your organization or you can put something together to educate even just that community on some of those things, because I'm sure that they also run right through the same type of problems. Because part of what I'm understanding here, the disconnect is really come in the fact that the institution is moving at such a high level in which it becomes difficult to reach some of the communities that are not on the same high level as the institution is used to operate. And there's plenty of underserved.
Correct.
Yeah.
And as a trustee, when you sit on the board, it's 9 people on that board.
Okay.
And they make policy.
Okay.
And for some reason, the board made a policy that a board member cannot interfere or cannot go to that campus where they are the trustee.
Okay.
They can go to the campus, but they cannot interact with the employees.
Right.
They cannot interact with the managers.
Okay.
Cannot make certain requests, because it's a policy that
Right.
was fine line,
Right.
reading, because I guess it probably was abused.
Right, pressure. It becomes
so
pressure
now they
to the
changed
employees.
the policy where we can't, a board member
Right.
can't go. But what that board member is supposed to do, that trustee,
Mm-hmm.
she's supposed to take that information. What I would do, I'll say that for my community, is to take a team approach.
Mm-hmm.
Those super neighborhood presidents, those civic club people, those parents, and have a advisory team, which I do sit on the advisory team right now
Okay.
at HCC, but it's in another district. It's in District 9.
Okay.
But get those team of people together. They bring the information to you, what the campus need, what are the shortfalls, what are the gains, and then I take that information to the chancellor.
Okay.
And the chancellor is responsible for getting the rest of the work done, if she so chooses to.
Okay.
But most likely, if the community has that concern and we bring that issue to the chancellor, she is, he or she, whoever they are obligated to look into it and to find a solution.
Indeed.
So that's what they do, and that's where I come in, and I'm like, look, I want to see bigger, better things. We have a one-story campus.
Yeah.
Why do these two campuses are one story and all the other campuses are 4 and 5 and 6 stories high?
Right.
What is wrong with that disparity? So I brought pictures to show at one of my meetings while I'm running to show, look at this campus in Holman Street. Look at this campus on Katy. Look at this campus on the east side. Now come back and look at these two little small campuses that we have in the African American community. What's wrong with that? Okay, so now I got you thinking.
Right.
Now I got you wondering. I don't know what happened. I don't know where the funding. I don't know why they took the tax dollars from HCC North Forest campus and put it in Katy and built a beautiful big campus in Katy, and Katy does not pay Houston taxes.
Okay.
It's weird.
Right.
But those are the kind of things. Sometimes they want you to don't talk about that. But no, that's something that needs to be talked about. That's something that needs to be, brought up, because it was a reason that happened, and where we are today, we can't go back and go under, fix that, but we can go forward and build on what we do have.
Right.
And say that's where I'm at.
And so, in your opinion, really, then it goes back to what we started by saying earlier, that educating even the constituents, the residents in that area, for them to understand, because first of all, if the resources are there and the resources sometimes are not being used, also the institution may look like, okay, these resources are here, they're not being used, but they're not going to be used if people are not aware that those resources are there to be used, right?
Absolutely.
So then additional information into the community is one of the things.
Correct.
Okay. Now, what can be done by the community to help you better them?
The community can bring that information to me. We sit down and make a plan, and we meet, conversate, communicate, and go over it, and then that information can be brought to the board.
Okay.
And like I said, and the board can make the decision to vote on those things that we want to bring to District 2, because I'm going to be an advocate for my district. It wouldn't be no reason not to be.
Right.
And many times people get in this position. We've had 4 different trustees within the last 5 years.
Okay.
The same seat.
Wow.
So I had to say, why is it that the trustees are? And I've ran for this seat
That's a
twice.
lot of turnover.
That's a high turnover.
Right.
Many people get in the seat so they can get to the next seat, whatever they want to be, city councilman, state rep, whatever they want to be.
Okay.
They use the Houston Community College seating and and all of the wheels and bells that come, whistles and bells that come with it to move up the ladder in a career. Point. Yeah,
Gotcha.
it's a career ladder for them.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and so that's just the way politics is. I've never ran for any other seat.
Okay.
I just want to put that out there because I don't want people to think that I'm doing the same thing. I've never ran. This is the only seat that I ever ran for, and because I know my lane. This
Indeed.
is my lane.
Indeed, that's your love.
This is my calling.
You love that. That's your calling.
That's why I put so much emphasis on it.
Indeed.
Wanted to bring out the point that this month is, of course, breast cancer awareness, and it's also domestic violence awareness.
Indeed.
And this month is this October. Our people, young people, no matter what age or how old, men and women, if they're experiencing some things. Sometimes classes like that, even those type of courses and information and knowledge can help them understand where they want to be or where they need to be, and to get out of a situation so that they can increase their education, they can increase their learning, they can become independent, so they won't have to rely on many times an abuser use finances to keep abusing.
Right.
So if a person is able to get out of a situation and grow, and and not have to rely on that person, then that's a good way. ACC is a good tool and a good resource center to have all of that information brought to those campuses, and you will watch the enrollment grow up. You will watch the community grow. You will watch the people excel. When they do good, I do good.
Right.
So I like to see, I like to bring them up from the bottom.
Right.
And then that's the way we grow as a community. It's not all about me.
Indeed. Indeed. Now, with the dismantling of the education, the federal education department by the executive, how important do seats such as yours that actually are community-based, city-based, state-based to the rest of the state or to the constituents?
Repeat that again.
How important are positions like yours that are city-based, community-based, with the dismantling of the education department by the federal education department by the executive of the country, by the president, basically. He's trying to do away with the education department because he doesn't see the need of that specific department in the executive, in the federal level. So in the state level and the city level, right, there's got to be some shifting of importance to the position that you currently have and others have. So how important is that? And what else shifts in the process of going through this?
Gil, let me say something to you. At the age of, I want to say third grade, if you don't pass that test, that whatever kind of test they want to call it, TOS test, STAR test, if you don't pass that test at third grade, do you know that Texas is building a new prison right now for every single person that didn't pass that test? I learned that when I was getting my master's degree in education leadership.
Okay.
They are building prisons way up country, way up North Texas right now.
Okay.
For every student. That's how they build it. They get the numbers based on the kids that didn't pass the test. They keep that testing. That's why they want to keep testing.
Okay.
They want to get those numbers, and they build a prison. Private prisons, whether it's public, private, however it's funded.
Okay. But let me make sure that
go ahead.
Yeah, let me just make sure that I understand correctly. So what you're saying is that there is a test that is administered on the third grade, and if a student does not pass that, the amount of students or the number of students that do not pass the test determines the number of prisons that will be built in the state.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
that's statewide.
Okay, so then let's kind of open the conversation to a whole different route. Let me try to attack this from a different approach then. So by taking away the federal education department and bringing the power of education back to the state, are there benefits or there are not benefits?
They're both.
Okay.
It depends on who you want to benefit.
Okay, so let's unpack it a little bit. How can the community then adapt or reposition or position itself to benefit from that shift?
The community may, and this is my opinion and my opinion only, need to go back to educating their own kids.
Okay.
A lot of things been taken out of the history. A lot of things have been moved into books that doesn't have anything to do with education. It's, whether it's sex change or how you want to live your sex life is seemed like to be the main focus of some of the things. There's a proposition right now. I believe it's Proposition 15. I don't have it in front of me.
Okay.
But everybody should take a look at it. It's asking us to make the decision should parents be the decision maker of their children? You can put yes or no. Should parents be the decision maker? They better look at these propositions of their children, making decisions for their children.
Right. And we're talking about underage children.
It doesn't say. It just doesn't specify. It just says, but I'm sure it's underage children. Should parents be the decision maker?
When you say children, got to be underage.
Yes, it got to be. Right. Got to be under the age of 18. Mm-hmm. So if we're not the decision maker of our children and we pass that proposition, then that means they're going to have somebody else making a decision for all of our kids. That means for the caseworker, whether it's going to be the principal at the school, having a special needs child taught me that there's, when you sign in these papers to get a meeting to get your child art, it's art paperwork. It's called the annual admissions review.
Right.
You're not realizing that some of that paper you sign is a waiver, and you're waiving your rights to make decisions for your kids. And I didn't know that you have to read. Right. And so when we're making those decisions to not be the decision maker or to be the decision maker, it's going to affect the entire fabric of our community. Right. Yes, that is one of the things that I see coming down the pipeline. Because many young parents, they don't take the time. They just, they want to get their hair and nails done, stay in the club, do whatever they want to do, while their children are being reared by a system that's really pushing them into prison. Right. How do I know that? I taught in a prison for 5 years. Wow. Okay. I was a teacher for 5 years. I started teaching in 2013. Okay. In Pam Lynch State Jail, and most of the guys there had 2 to 10 years. And once I became a teacher in that prison, and I seen some of my ex-students in prison. Wow. So students that you have taught them somewhere else previously. Correct. Then, no, I don't. It was an all-male facility, so these were black men, young men. And I don't want to make it sound funny, but do you recall any of them being maybe that one that you probably looked at and you were like, I just wonder what this one is going to be? I don't remember any of them particularly that I seen because, at the time it just kind of caught me off guard. Okay. When somebody call your name, and like, oh my God, I remember him in elementary school. Right. But many, many times, kids, especially African-American young men, boys, they just misunderstood. Okay. But by the time they are, by the time you figure out that they hungry, it could be something simple. Right. Or he don't want to go to school, and he ain't going to school because his shoes, he don't have no Jordans, or he don't have the type of shoes, and the kids picking on him because he wearing Chucks or whatever he wearing shoes from Payless. Right. So these are reasons people drop out of school. Simple stuff like that. Okay. So if we were to go ahead. No, go ahead. I said all that to say this is what we're facing with a generation that is changing. If it's not the right brand name, right. The other kids will bully them or pick on them or make them feel less worthy of being there. And sometimes, suicide is up. They will commit suicide just because they don't even want to go to school because they're going to be picked on. And people don't think this is real for kids. They be like, girl, stop that. It's, we blow them off and thinking it's not real. This is a reality. Right. This is real. And I've seen people, young men drop out of school for reasons that they should be in school. Maybe smart, maybe just having peer pressure. Right. So all of this ties in to education. All of this ties into helping them get to the next level in their life. Right. Now, shouldn't that be probably the reason, the single reason even to pick up and start getting communities to actually pay attention? Because you come from a grassroots movement in which you galvanizing your community to change, to bring about change. Shouldn't that be the trigger to get the community leaders to actually go back into the nucleus or that center, the essence of what a community needs to be, so that they can start helping each other? Because when you
dropping off of school because you're not wearing what you're seeing on television or what everyone considers cool, that means that you already distracted by what is not your mission in life,
fantasy.
right?
Yes.
Exactly. So, but and a lot of times I believe that if you're not focused by something, anything else can focus you.
Correct.
Right. So,
Correct.
shouldn't we now maybe start figuring out, and if we are, what can be done in these communities to start to bring that focus back?
One of the things that Katy did,
Mm-hmm.
Katy Independent School District, they can't bring cell phones in the classroom no more.
Okay.
Hats off to Katy Independent School District.
Mm-hmm.
Because that cell phone, that Facebook, all of that stuff is a distraction.
Right.
Instagram, because they're living in a fantasy world.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody doesn't live, they post the stuff on Facebook and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, but many, some, now we got AI, so
Right.
you never know kind of what's real and what's
Right.
not real.
Yeah.
And so if we could get the mindset back on the individual person, the kids, and and just focus on educating
Right.
one at a time. If the fabric of the entire community is torn, we're gonna have to stitch it one stitch at a time
Right.
to get it done. We can't work it out. I can't do everything at the same time,
Right.
but we're gonna have to do something every single day, one day at a time,
Right.
to just even we can gather the smallest community.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
And then move to the next section.
Indeed.
Because the parent is the essence of the community. If you break up, if there's no family,
Mm-hmm.
then it's really hard to reach them until they get to a level of no return.
Right.
It's hard to reach a person if that mother is not there, and then that mother gets in trouble, and then all her kids get split into foster care,
Right.
for example.
Right.
And then at foster care, once you turn 18, you out of there. They don't care about once the check is over with.
Right.
You're on your own.
Right.
And most people, and they become like wild animals. They're striving to try to eat, so they don't have a personal relationship with me or you. So if they see you on the street and they need some food, they're gonna take everything that they can from you to get that food,
Right.
because they don't understand that maybe nobody taught them how to transition from school into the workforce.
Right.
That piece is missing
Okay.
from the school to the workforce. So they've been in a foster care for I'm gonna say all their life, and then when they turn 18, they released into the community.
Right.
Where are they gonna go? Where are they gonna stay? Why are so many people homeless in Houston? It has to be something going on with that trend.
Okay.
This is not an accident.
Okay.
This is a system that is designed to keep a person where they are.
Okay.
Even when they get out of prison, they cannot get an apartment. Even if they're working, they
Right.
cannot get an apartment. Well, where do they stay?
Right.
Where are they going to stay? And I brought this up because the housing isn't we got housing, infrastructure, education, environmental justice. All of these things are things that I've been working on as a civic club president
Okay.
before running for this office.
Okay.
So this is why I'm so deeply rooted into building the entire child, building up from pre-K to the prison is not where we want them to go.
Okay.
So I can understand, because I've worked on all levels of education.
Right.
Who have worked in a prison and want to do that? But I'm be honest with you, that was the most best time of my life and an education career, because they were ready.
Okay.
They were ready. They were hungry for the knowledge by then.
So it was rewarding.
It was very rewarding.
Okay.
So that's how we're going to have to do it. And bringing Houston Community College as a big, it's just a huge opportunity for them to get into school. I have one student, he is about to, he drew a portrait of me. He's about to go into the service because he can't afford to go to college. And I'm like, no, we're going to get him in there. We're going to get him, shout out to Lance if he's listening. We're going to get him into that Houston Community College
Okay.
and teach him how to do his career in art or drafting or whatever it may become.
Question for you, and that's something that it is important, because a lot of times when it comes, especially when it comes to resources, and now that certain federal programs are being cut in regards to education, we need to really be realistic about us being able to drive home one message that helps these kids funnel themselves into rewarding and promising and careers that they actually love, whether permanently or even as a stepping stone to where they're trying to get, right? So the military, you mentioned the military, the young men trying to go into the military, is being one of the alternatives that I think that in our communities has always been downplayed. But comes to realize the majority of millionaires in America have been part of the U.S. military.
Absolutely.
And some of them have gone from zero into becoming millionaires, and their growth, their financial growth, happened during the time in which they were in the U.S. military.
Discipline, yes.
Okay. So should we maybe as a community even start to look into the military to discipline some of the children? Because that has been one of the biggest problems in our community, is the lack of discipline, because a lot of households don't have the necessary discipline for the children, or may have the wrong, let me put it that way, discipline for children. And I'm just asking out of the box.
I wouldn't throw the option out the box, because if we don't get a handle on that kid, we don't get a handle on him. I worked in several school districts, and one of the school districts that I worked in was Aldine, and I watched the kids not get consequences for a lot of that things that they did.
Right.
They got nothing done to them. No, they can do some real bad things. Some of the things were felonies, and they were able to stay under the radar, and not the schools, even some of the biggest schools right today that are in some of the, I would even say River Oaks area, Heights area, many schools hide the discipline problems that they're having.
Okay.
And they hide the discipline problem all the way till they graduate, and then they wonder why certain people get out and why did he kill, why so many school shootings. If your child bring a dead cat to school that he killed, it's something already wrong.
Right.
It's something already wrong. So I said all that to say they are being, a lot of the discipline issues are being pushed to the side. There's no counselor. When I was teaching at HISD, there's no counselor, there's no nurse, there's no librarian. They removed all of those out of the education department. Okay. And so I, as a teacher, had to be all of that. I had to be the nurse, the counselor, the library. I was in the library. I had to be the librarian. And when those kids would do things and act up, they told me I had to take care of it. I'm like, but he needs to go to the office. They're fighting. Right. Yeah. I'm pushing the button. There's something is wrong. It was a fight every single day. Okay. So I'm talking about from 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. This is every single day. And so I realized at that point that this got to be designed to. There's no way the problem is coming from higher up. Because like you said, once you start removing programs and we start removing all of these resources, and these kids they don't have an out. Right.
But those are ways that I would say that we can. I'm a believer that we can depend on the government, whether federal or state, to give assistance. But the essence of education needs to start at home and then in the community. So if you had to pitch your case right now to your constituents in order to vote for you, what would you say?
I would say experience matters, because when you have the experience on just about every level of life, that makes a difference to you making bigger decisions for your community. I said it earlier, and I'm going to say it again. I'm a workhorse, not a show horse. Right. So I put the work in my community when it comes to getting red lights, and when it comes to watching people, preventing accidents, preventing illegal dumping, preventing the environmental justice that's going on right now, where illegal dumping, to prevent and to bring education, to bring awareness to every single thing that's going on every single month. This is what I do, what I love to do. I believe that working on a different level and as a trustee, that I can bring better relationships to my community with those partners, those business partners, grocery stores, agriculture. It's so many areas the need is so much, it's so big.
Right.
And we're so underserved. So we just, I'm grabbing for things that I can see it blooming in my head. I see a big, beautiful campus. I see farming. I see so much. And so they can call it a dream or whatever, but I see the dream coming into fruition right in my neighborhood.
Okay.
And that's why I'm running. I'm running not so much for me, not so much for me, but it's for the future of our students.
Okay. Now, something on a lighter note, of course, not light, but something that also I believe that framed you. You actually the mother of a child with special needs.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. As you look at the community and the state of the community right now when it comes to special needs children, I know that there are some initiatives that are there actually to remove some funding for some of the programs for children with special needs. What are your concerns?
Autism is one I like to talk about the most because that affects, I believe, 1 out of every, I want to say 76 kids, or it may be 1 out of every 36 now. Okay. And so, and most of them are African American boys. Here we go again. I want to know what's going to happen to my son, in the event that I pass away, or all those other kids or people that have children with Down syndrome or grown, or they're adults. My son is 25, so he's not a kid anymore, but if he was to get in trouble, he'll be tried as an adult. So there are some things that you have to label your kids on their driver's license. There are some things that we could do so if that particular person did get in trouble, people would know that his mental capacity is like 6th grade or 2 or whatever it is. Right. So it's important that not only people with disabilities like autism, but with all disabilities, have some resources to go to and have them available in our community. They're not available in our community that we know of. So we have to go grabbing, and then they're just scattered all over the place. So what I want to do is just kind of bring them together, bring a center together where they can go here, and whatever one of these resources they need, they will be able to get the one that most fits their area and their problem and their concern and their child. Okay,
so if I understand correctly, then there's really a lack of a resource pool or a place where people can go for resources for children. Now, you mentioned something interesting. You mentioned that and you can say his name. I don't know his name.
I don't mind. Yeah, his name is Caleb.
Okay, yeah. So Caleb, for instance, growing up, you as a mother, you were running into walls because at specific points in times there were certain needs that you had that I'm sure that they were not there. And today, of course, you just mentioned a statistic of 1 in every 70 something children. So that is a lot. That means there are plenty of them out there. What should those parents do in the process of raising them, and then of not even running into that wall in which they just give up? Because a lot of times, and a lot of parents just give up.
Yes, right. They do. They give up because they don't have the support. The support system is just not in our community, right. And so they just tend to kind of leave them be, and then they grow up without getting much needed resources that they could have gotten. Right. There's so many programs out there, and even with my son, I had to be educated as well. I didn't just get it. I had to pay for the education. I paid an advocate. I was connected with one, and she was very good. Jackie Eckford, hats off to her. She was the person that taught me, don't waive your rights away for your child. Get involved. See what they're doing to your child. If your child have a behavior problem or whatever they want to call it, then get a behavior plan. So if he's acting out, send him to timeout and let him put his headphones on for 20 minutes, and he'll settle down. Just little stuff, little steps.
Yeah.
And these are the things that a parent should know to do, or should have something, a backup plan. I just had a relative recently just decided to withdraw her child from school, and he's 6 years old, because the school said that they couldn't handle him. That is not legal. You have to find, they're obligated to find resources for him. If they don't have the resources at that school, then they're going to have to bus him, like they did my son, to the school that have the resources. She just don't know that, or she just gave up and she just withdrew him. So she keeps him at home all day. And there's so many parents that may be going through, similar like that. These are the type of services that we can bring to HCC, and they can have at least a pool of information to go to.
Okay, so because I'm sure that there's probably need for even organizations that could be the how you say, the liaisons between the parents and the HCC level and the community, right?
And the high school, yes.
Right, and the high schools and middle schools and even elementary schools. Okay, now are there currently are there any plans of starting maybe educating specific individuals even to create such organizations that would be the liaisons for that, being that it is a need in the community? Is that something that you guys have even thought about, or just?
Absolutely. I actually have one of my coworkers that have a son that also experienced it, and she's already started. And I was trying to been pulling some of the resources from her, if she will allow. Some people want to work with you. Some people may have some reserves, but I am open to it. I invite it, and then if not, I will also point people in the right direction to go. I may not have a lot of resources, but one thing I do have is the knowledge, the background, and the education to tell every single parent that early detection is the best detection. Once you get that detection, then the doors will start to open up in other areas for people that have those type of needs. And once you and that's what they need. They need to know that there is help available, and they have all types of help that you can get to get relief. So sometimes it can be very difficult to have a child, because some of them are just wanting to be with you 24/7, and then you have some that it's getting up to they so frustrated till they're angry and they start to act out. And by the time when they get to that age, and that it's too much to handle. So I worked with my church. And I worked with one of my local churches when they had a section just for disabled people, just for disabled kids and adults.
Kids with special needs. Okay. Now, if people needed to get in touch with you, or people needed to support your endeavors, your campaign, or your activities, how would they reach you? They can get in touch with me very, very easy. They can email me at Kathy with a K. KATHY, the number 4, HCC.com, or they can also go to my website, which is www.Kathy, the number 4, HCC.com. Okay.
That's my website.
There you go.
So either one of those.
Okay. Now, are there any, and is there anything that you would like to, or any appeals that you would like to make before we close the program?
Yes, I would like to let everyone know that I would like to get your support, of course, for me, Kathy Gunter, when you go to the polls. Okay,
and Miss Kathy Gunter, thank you for stopping by. We appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to come through and share a little bit of your journey, Gracious. And I would like to, honestly, from a community perspective, thank you for being a fighter. Thank you for not giving up. Thank you for actually withstanding all those hurdles that were put in your way, and today being able to say that, listen, it's a lot better on the other side of the mountain.
It is, and it was my pleasure. You almost made me cry.
It's okay. It's okay. Sometimes it's part of the healing process.
Yes.
It's part of the healing process, because before anything else we must remember, sharing information helps us heal.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. And for those of you that took time out of your busy schedules to join us in this conversation, I appreciate you as always. And remember, if you don't know, find someone that does. And if you can find someone that does, reach out to us, diasporacentral.net, because I'm sure that we can find someone to assist you. On behalf of everyone here on the set, until next time, peace.